Hail Kingdom, welcome to Path of Exile 2. In this video I will show you how to never stop and beat the campaign fast and efficient from zero to hero. Yeah, so let's create a new character and there will be tons of tips how to optimize your play and how to have more fun. You definitely want to pick your build before you start the season, so it's nice to have an idea what you will play later. However, here's the first tip. When you're starting out a new season, you will have zero currency and zero characters. And if you're starting as monk, but you're struggling with melee gameplay in early levels, then it's nice to start as a ranger and just beat the first boss. This will give you bow and quiver and first skills for ranger that you can drop right into stash tab and use it as your monk to begin your journey. But if you're following my leveling guides, you won't need it in most cases. Today I decided to play as mercenary and we started without anything right on the shore, on this rotten beach. We talk with our friend wounded man, save him from this little body zombie, and that's our next tip. So he drops a weapon that will be used for our class. And we can actually instantly pause the game and get action respawn at checkpoint. It's insanely overpowered when you're playing campaign. This will force us to restart the area basically, but this weapon will be respawned. So if you're starting as warrior, you can actually duplicate your collapse and play with two weapons. For me it doesn't matter that I get like two crossbows or just one. So we got a little bit of free loot, let's go. Now you probably will want to just shoot a bunch of zombies, get a little bit of experience. However, this move will actually hold you down. Instead, you want to run as fast as possible, ignore the zombies, and basically ignore most of enemies in most cases, especially if it's just solo enemies. If you like to defeat every enemy, of course do it, it's still fun. And most important is to have fun when you're playing the game, don't forget it. But by skipping them, we can ignore useless enemies and focus down on most important parts. But here's another little tip how to start your league. When you reach a large chest, which will drop our skill near this checkpoint, you can open it, pick the skill, but to use the skill you need to equip it. Don't do it. Instead, we will respawn a checkpoint at this point, get back, and this chest will have this skill every time we restart until we equip the skill. So now I will equip the skill, we can use it. So why do we need so many skills? We can use only one. Well, you kinda right. Let's skip until our first boss, quickly destroy him, get our level up, and first set of items that always drops from this boss. We enter in town, and in town there will be a bunch of NPCs that will give us quests, also they will give us quest rewards, but most importantly these NPCs will sell useful items. Yuna in Act 1 selling magical items and flasks, as well as a bunch of scrolls of wisdom that you can use to identify items, because they come unidentified from the ground. And Renly will sell a bunch of physical classes equipment like bows, crossbows, quarterstaffs, as well as armor. It will take you insane amount of time if you will try to hover your mouse over each weapon and try to find is any weapon good, is any armor good, and what you actually need. So here's the trick. There's a search box, and while you can manually search for something like life, and you will see everything with life, it will also have life regeneration per second. And life is super important when you're playing campaign, because the more life, the more survival you will have, and you don't need to dodge as often, you will die less often, or you will never die at all. So life is really important stat for us in the campaign. And there's a trick how we can find armor pieces with exactly bonus to maximum life. So it's done by entering double quotation marks. It will force to search precisely for combination or we will enter, and we're basically entering part of this like turns damage. You can enter NS space DA. It will be turns damage last and first part. In terms of maximum life, it will be M space LI. So it will be only maximum life. As you can see, now every piece of equipment with maximum life highlighted for me, but of course we have 0 gold right now, and shop will refresh after every level up. However, every skill costs 30 gold, or almost 30 gold. So we take a little bit of time in the beginning, restart our game, like 20 times, we can actually buy a bunch of blue equipment, and it will be a really good equipment to start our game, just by selling these skills. Pretty useful. Also, if you identify item, they will sell for more. So right now it's 7 gold, it's 26 now. Another cool part that it also saves when you exit the shop, so whenever you enter a shop again, it will always keep the same line. And I will leave this line in video description so you can copy the one I'm using. It's quality items, items with added damage, with increased physical damage, with movement speed, and with maximum life, of course. So that's like most important items for us to beat campaign. We instantly found insane crossbow with level 2 projectile skills and added fire damage. And just like that, even before entering our first zone, we are already starting with 128 life. So instead of being eaten by wolves and these guys, we actually can face tank them in most cases. As you can see, if I'm not standing in this circle, well, basically they can't defeat me, or at least it will take like insane amount of time for them to defeat me, so we can just run around and shoot and destroy them. Should we do it? Well, again, it depends. In reality, these guys are also not very useful. So if we open them up on the full screen, we will see that it's monster level 2 right now. This area is basically monster level 2. You can also check it in quest menu on the map. It will show this Clearfell is monster level 2 area. What does it mean? Well, it means monsters are level 2 over here. And in Path of Exile 2 there's interesting leveling system actually. And this system inflicts penalty to your experience gain based on enemy level. If you're high level and enemies is low level, well, you will have penalty, but same works in other direction. So if you try to fight level 100 enemies at level 1, you will get 0 experience. Before level 40, it's plus minus 4 levels. And then it's plus minus 6 levels. This means technically we can go into area of monster level 4 or 5 and then start killing them. It will give us a lot more experience since a high level of monsters will give you more experience in general. Therefore, you're just wasting a little bit of time if you're trying to kill every monster in lower level zones. However, this video is not only about efficiency, but also about how not to stack. Yeah, being efficient is great, but you stack probably not because you're not efficient at this point. You probably stack because, well, you need a little bit more power. And more power comes with the right skill choices. You may be following some build guide and, for example, you're trying to play permafrost bolts. Yeah, it's a nice idea to get permafrost bolts to start the game, but there's little but of course over here. It's still kinda single target skill and it will take lots of time to destroy our enemies. Therefore, it's a nice combination for any class you play before you reach like level 10 probably. Like it will work for full first act. If you go with Contagion as your first skill you learn. I definitely learn it on every character I start with, and Contagion is just insane. It curses enemy, and when enemy dies, the curse goes to nearby enemies and they will take more damage. So it looks like this. I will apply Contagion, then I will try to destroy my target with Contagion, and basically I can run away, enemies will be destroyed themselves. So that's how it works. It's insanely powerful stuff, and no matter what class you started with, pick Contagion. If you see a bunch of like monsters, like 1-2 monsters, you can ignore them. If you actually see loads of monsters, then just bump Contagion, defeat one and go away. The pack will be defeated. Now, where we will go? Of course, you want to clear every zone if you don't know what you're doing, or you need to be a little bit more powerful. But if you want to be efficient, well, you need to ignore a bunch of zones. For example, Mudburrow is kinda optional quest that will give us support gem, but if your build is tight and smart, you can completely ignore this zone. However, there is unignorable zones, and they look like this. I would say not zones, events. Beer of the Rotten Pack will have this cross sign nearby. As you can see, these skulls have no cross, and this means it's very, very important stuff for your character. So no cross, not important, cross, important. Beer of the Rotten Pack is a boss that will be located somewhere nearby, and she will drop permanent buff. We will have permanent plus 10 resistance to cold damage. It's very important for late game, so you definitely want to have all these bonuses picked up in the campaign. But there's little bonuses all over the place. For example, in first zone there's mysterious campsite, and it's one-time bonus. You can get this abandoned stash, and you always get uncut skill gem. So it's a nice way to jumpstart your character, for example, get your next skill And that's basically how we will get going. A little bit about our passing. Now you know what is important and what is not. Still, you may get lost and spend lots of time in any zone trying to look for an exit. Here's the method. It won't work 100% of the time, but it works in like 90% of the cases. If you take a look at the quest map, you actually will see exact locations of basically everything and where you need to go. So let me hover mouse over here. We're in Clearfell right now and we need to go to the Grailwood. Grailwood is kinda top right on this map and Mudburrow is kinda bottom right, while Beera is kinda top left. So if we take a look at the map, we're exactly looking at the same pattern. We left Clearfell encampment, then we see that Mudburrow is kinda on the right side, Grailwood is on completely opposite side, basically forward from Clearfell encampment, while Beera will be located over here, so she's like on the left side as well as this little checkpoint over there. And this works like almost in every location. You don't need to memorize all routings, and to be efficient, you actually can easily find exit just by following this map logic. But let's get back to not efficiency, but to how to get a little bit more power when you're playing campaign. If you're actually struggling with bosses, with encounters and stuff like that. One of the way why you're struggling, probably you don't have enough crazy good items. And one of the ways how to get them is to actually farm bosses. So this Beera, I will try to freeze her, that's the idea of my build. After freeze, I will try to hit her with my like shotgun shot and she will be destroyed in a few seconds. So she's done. We got a little bit of drops. As you can see, there's a bunch of blue items and this green item, which is quest item. That's exactly what I told you. You need to collect them all. This will be permanent buffs or skill points or stuff like that. Now, what we will do now? So main idea when you clearing zones is to actually enter the zone and run around, unlock all checkpoints, all exits, find all bosses and then clear what you need. This will be like most efficient way. Now we will go into Grailwood, since there's nothing to do in Clearfell, but I told you that you can get a little bit more powerful by farming bosses. So right now, right from the get-go, we will press and hold button on controller to create new instance on PC, on keyboard and mouse. I'm playing with mouse also, so it will be shift plus click or control plus click, I forget. And you can create new instance. If I enter old instance, I will actually enter old zone with cleared monsters and cleared boss. But if I create new instance, I will start right over here. Every monster will be respawned. We can farm them, but we're not interested in them. We're interested in Beera. She is actually pretty close to this location, so we can instantly start farming her. And that's one of the pretty good ways how to get a lot of equipment early on. There's a lot higher chance to get some good equipment from someone like Beera than from basic monsters. That's why I want to focus down on bosses and elite enemies. Let's see what she will drop right now. Bunch of blue items. And the amount of items will actually escalate pretty quickly. You don't want to pick up everything, you actually want to know what to do with them. Therefore, I suggest to using option menu and setting up loot filters. If you don't know how they work, well, you need to watch tutorial or download some loot filters from my Discord at least. I got a bunch of leveling loot filters. I restarted zone again and basically can do this trick as much as you like if you stack a little bit to get a little bit more equipment, to upgrade your character, just replay zone a few times and that's basically it. There's high chance you will find a lot of good items by doing so. On third attempt I got my yellow item, and starting campaign with yellow item is really great. Yellow item is items with up to 6 affixes, so this will give a lot of extra armor. Basically these gloves got more armor than my body armor right now, extra fire damage, some stats and life per enemy killed. It's just the gloves that will completely streamline our gameplay in Act 1. And again, that's the trick how to kinda get better gear when you stack a little bit. Now let's get back to a real deal, what actually affects our leveling. Maybe you're following not my leveling guides, and some leveling guides will assume you kinda know what you're doing, or will just copy some late game build. I don't recommend playing late game builds as leveling builds, especially based on passive skill tree. So here's the idea. Passive skill tree consists of attributes, basically like our highway, our road, with attributes and loads of clusters. These clusters, these branches, will have bonuses that will affect our damage a lot, like 40% increased damage with two-handed weapons. For me, it's nice bonus because crossbow is two-handed weapon, and there's most of the time with every character definition of the road. Right and left road, one of them will be kind of damaging road, so over here on the right side we got a lot of projectile damage, basically it's damaging road. On the left side there is armor and evasion, so it's protective road. Here's the simplest rule you may have when you play in campaign, and actually you can keep this rule until you hit level 80. Only after like reaching high tier maps you want to respec your character and change your build. Rule is simple, just follow damage. Damage, 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 only stuff that gives you damage. It will be different for loads of builds. For example, some builds may benefit from lightning damage, maybe in beginning, so it's fine, but technically it will look like this. You pick first damaging node, then you move towards next damaging node, then you check next damaging node, the closer it the better, and when you reach attribute points you need to find next damaging node as close as possible. So from this node it will be over here, it's two-handed damage weapon, and then you check all clusters, so pick every node. In most cases you can skip something if you know that it's useless. For example, increased accuracy is useless, so I will skip it. And then you want to continue your road to the next damaging cluster, and so on and so on. And basically you want to pick every damaging node on your way as close as possible to your starting position. This will give you a lot of initial power to your character. Before you reach the maps, before you reach endgame, never even touch armor and protective nodes if they not giving you damage. If they giving you damage, of course you can check them. Maybe there's some like weird skills that scale from armor. If not, then it's only damage, damage, damage. So that's how it works. So we should see which hut right over here when we start our adventure, and yeah, it definitely is. Here's a little trick. So I will arrive near this checkpoint, and if you're ambushed by lots of enemies, you don't want to fight them, maybe. So you actually can, like, if you want, but if you're ambushed, you can just respawn at checkpoint, skip this fight, and it's cauldron, it's useful. There will be medium flasks, mana and health. Also, this lady is with extra energy shield, so if you're weak right now, you can do the same trick, basically restart this fight by restarting at the checkpoint, and it works nicely. So she drops support gem. Support gems are super useful to elevate our build. Now, one of the really most important stuff to not stuck in a campaign and to do it quickly is to manage your equipment and your currency efficiently. So what do I mean? You want to collect every item you have, and with blue items you want to identify and sell them if they cost close enough to 25 gold in unidentified state. For example, this shield costed 4 gold and now it's 28. So yeah, we spent 25 gold to identify it, or we can just find a bunch of scrolls of wisdom, so it's technically free. But items that cost 14 gold can be identified, and they can cost, like in this example, like 54 or even like closer to 100 gold. So every blue item you will find, you just want to identify and sell in most cases, especially if you got free scrolls of wisdom, so that's what you're doing. It feels great to try and sell yellow items, rare ones, but we never sell rare items when we play in campaign. With yellow items you want to disenchant them. There always will be a trader which disenchants items. Most of the time it's trader, or like always it's a trader who sells magic equipment like Yuna in Act 1, and you want to disenchant items, and you want to disenchant these yellow items, especially if you're not using them. Of course, if you want to use them, you want to use them, but if you already got everything you need, well, what you want to do is to disenchant these items over here. What it does, it gives you regal shards, and regal shards are quite rare, and regal orbs even more rare when you play in campaign. This management will give you enough gold in most cases to buy some upgrades. So when you visit shop next time, you probably will find yourself in a situation when you can buy some nice upgraded chest piece, maybe boots with movement speed. Movement speed is the key, we move faster, therefore we beat campaign faster, so stuff like that. But here we got limited choices, and when you actually stuck, maybe at end of Act 2, maybe at end of Act 3, you want some upgrade, you will find yourself in a situation when you need a bunch of white items, unupgraded items, and you want to use currency to upgrade them. There's a bunch of different currency like orbs of transmutation, augmentation, regal orbs, exalted orbs, and that's what you will use in a campaign to upgrade your equipment. Regal orbs transform blue item into yellow item, so it adds extra modifier. And that's what will give you loads of power, because after using this regal orb, now you can drop bunch of exalted orbs on top, and it actually adds a lot to your weapons. Yes, you will use this upgrade method mostly on weapons, but there's one more type of items that is highlighted in my shop. It's quality items. As you can see, this spear got quality, and if we got a little bit of spare gold, we want to buy these quality items as often as possible, and by the end of Act 1 you will unlock Salvage Bench by completing Renless quest. You can salvage quality items, and they will give you Blacksmith Whetstone. Now, how to use Blacksmith Whetstone? There's actually two ways how you can use them. If you actually stuck and you think that you need just a little bit of upgrade to move forward, well, you can use it on your weapon. This improves quality of martial weapon, and quality just adds to your base parameters. So base of this weapon right now got 10 to 18 physical damage, 20% quality will change it to 12 to like 21 or so. Yeah, exactly, 12 to 21. The better weapon, like the better bonus with full upgraded quality, but there's another way how you can use them. I will show it to you in a minute. Same goes for socketed gear. Socketed gear can be disenchanted with salvage bench, so it can be salvaged basically. And if you find blue item, it's better to salvage it instead of selling. For yellow items, it will depend. If you already got a bunch of regal orbs, like 1 or 3, something around this, maybe 5 if you're lucky, you can actually sell yellow items from now on. Otherwise, you disenchant them. So by salvaging items with sockets, you will get artificial shards, and then you will get artificial orbs. When you collect 10 artificial shards, with orbs you can create sockets, and sockets is pretty useful stuff, because you will find a bunch of runes when you're running around, and these runes will be used inside your weapons and armors. If you need a little bit of resistance or a little bit of extra damage, you just find some glacial runes, other types of runes, and drop them inside your sockets. Just like that, it's level 0 crossbow. We haven't leveled even a single bit, and I guess you remember how our fight versus Beera went. So it was pretty slow because we was like level 1 without any gear. Look at us right now. It's just like 2 shots, she's frozen, 1 shot, she's out. So 3 shots, she's out. That's the difference between good weapon and just basic starting weapon. If you always stuck with bad weapons, well, you will be stuck or you will be insanely slow in a campaign. But even if you're doing all previous stuff I mentioned correctly, well, you can still stuck if you upgrade at the wrong time. So best time to upgrade is when you start to feel that it's becoming hard. When enemies can't damage you like me right now, well, there's no place to start panicking. If they start to damage me a little bit, or maybe like a little bit more dangerous, I will try to play a little bit more passively, maybe, but if I start to feel that I'm going like too slow or it's really too hard, it's the time to upgrade, definitely. By this I mean it's time to invest in upgrade. Maybe get some good armor with more maximum life, and maybe invest a little bit of currency. So drop a bunch of currencies that gives quality to armor, increase power of this armor, maybe even drop a bunch of regal exalted orbs on top, so you get better and more powerful piece. But if it feels okay, if it feels like a little bit slower than before, it's fine. We're advancing through the game, it should become harder and harder, but every time we advance to the new zones, we will find better bases for our armor and weapons. And what I mean by upgrading at the right time? Well, there's 2 parameters that will show how powerful item will be. For example, this crossbow is definitely weaker than one we got right now, because we got one with lots of extra bonuses. But is it better to invest in this crossbow, our currency, than in previous one? If, for example, this got only 1 bonus and this, for example, 3 bonuses. In most cases, yes, if you found it later in the game. There's item level, and you can find it only by getting additional info on the item, so you need to highlight it by pressing corresponding button. This one is item level 4, this one is item level 6. Between them there is almost no difference, but if there's item level 10 and item level 20, that's a big difference. Fun stuff, it can be the same crossbows, but also it can be different crossbows with same item level. Like over here, we got 2 different maces. One of them require level 11, one of them require level 6, but if we highlight them, it's the same item level 15. Item level will determine how good suffixes and prefixes can be on an item. But even high item level when can roll something good, can be pretty weak base, and this is exactly a demonstration. So Felt Great Club is a level 6 item, it's item level 15, and item level determine bonuses. So it determines how good can cold damage roll, increased stun build-up roll, increased physical damage, so how good it can be. But required level will basically tell you how powerful item without any bonuses. So this mace got 13 to 18 physical damage, and just next upgrade of the mace, which happens at level 11, will have 29 to 39 damage. It's basically double damage of previous mace without any bonuses. So even if we roll 100% increased physical damage on this mace, it will be still worse than this mace without any bonuses because of better base. And that's what you want to kinda understand when you want to invest currency. I will pull up on the screen when we have next item upgrades. So in Act 1 it's level 11, it will be our final level of item upgrade. First one will be level 4. This information is crucial to pick best items in Act 2. So even if you got insanely cool and powerful item from the first act that requires you level 10 and maybe it's item level 15 with good bonuses, in Act 2 you will go from monster level 17 to monster level 32. And even if you find very good bow at around level 19, so maybe you're like level 22 right now, and you think this bow is good, it's not a good idea to drop currency to improve its power. So if it's a blue bow with good bonuses, don't invest Regal Orb in this bow, since it's better to wait until you hit around level 28. That's where final weapon upgrade and armor upgrade will come, around like level 25-28. It's a lot better bow, and it's even better to get like bunch of white bows without any bonuses and then try to invest currency in them. Even with the random bonuses, this dual string bow will carry you a lot more than a recurve bow with good bonuses. It's insanely good bonuses on this bow, but this bow will be a lot worse than just basic dual string bow with bunch of exalted orbs invested. But in most cases, of course, you don't want to invest exalted orbs and regal orbs if you're not stuck. What you want to do, you want to actually beat all 3 acts without investing loads of currency into your gear. Again, if you're stuck, it's okay, you can invest a little bit. But if you manage to beat 3 acts, then you can start Act 4 and get straight to Wakapanu Island. This island, especially first part, will unlock you a hideout. After unlocking hideout, definitely travel over there, then back in town and you will unlock Eng. And that's where you can finally accelerate your progress. So if you're having any problems, all you need to do is to have a little bit of currency. Even Regal Orbs will work if you're early in the league, because you will unlock trading with Eng. She will unlock ability to use trade market. And now, for example, let's say we're looking for something to improve our power initially when we entering this zone. So we just finished Act 3, we're around level 42, and we're looking for something we can use like immediately. Let's say we're looking for a good crossbow. And you don't need to stress a lot at this point, you just want to search by highest DPS and your capital. So if you want to invest no more than 1 Regal Orb, then put maximum price 1 Regal Orb. You will find bunch of options, and just like that you can basically start this chapter with the crossbows or with your preferred weapon, which got insane amount of added damage or increased physical damage or other stats you are looking for. Again, we are looking mostly for increased physical damage and added damage at this point of the game. If you're playing strictly elemental damage builds, increased elemental damage also works. But basically for 1 Regal Orb you can buy very good weapon, and honestly you can even buy very good armor. So let's try to take a look for good body armor with evasion, with armor, since we're using strength dexterity as this class, and we're looking for pseudo total elemental resistances. The best one we can find will cost 1 Regal Orb. Of course, we're looking for armors that cost only 1 Regal Orb, and it will have 72 total elemental resistances. If we change it to Exalted Orbs and try to look for the best one, we can find pretty good options for this point of the game. And for just a little bit of currency, we are good to go to beat this act insanely fast. The last tip for campaign will be for interlude part of the game, especially for third act of interlude. This place Career Peaks. and there's Elder Maddox over there. If you wish to spend a little bit of time in this location and to add a little bit of time to your walkthrough of campaign, then you definitely want to do it. He is most of the time always in the same place. Basically, we'll go forward from the starting part of this location. Eventually, you will find checkpoint where road splits a little bit and you want to go into part with a bunch of owls. After following this road, you will find Elder Maddox, and he will offer you one legendary item, basically one unique item. Here's the trick. More often than not, you will be offered with pretty weak uniques, of course, they cost nothing. If you will try to restart this zone, it won't restart the shop, so he always kinda shows you same uniques. But when you level up a little bit, this area will start to upgrade its monster level. You need to identify this time, and every time this area will upgrade monster level, that's when you want to hold over here when standing on waypoint and you want to create new instance. This will actually refresh the shop and give you more options. Last time I played Interlude, I actually went straight for this guy, I checked uniques, and then I started to play from Act 1, I like to complete it first. Every time I leveled up, I went back to Crier Peaks, restarted the zone, checked the shop, and I did it a few times, and just in a few attempts, I got my Headhunter. Yeah, you can get pretty much insane items, stuff like Command Viper or whatever good uniques will be in the season. I saw some guys got Astramentis from him, some guys get Calandra Touch, so it's definitely possible to get insanely valuable uniques. And if you start your game with Headhunter, well, you basically beat it Pass of Exile at this point. So if it's not boring to you, definitely give it a try. Still, chances are pretty low, so I'm not recommending to do it like every time. You can get bored, but come on, it's a game of luck, so why not to test your luck? But if you don't want to rely on luck a lot, definitely check videos on the screen right now. Here you will find best leveling builds for all classes when they are ready in Pass of Exile 2, the first of the druids. And see you in the next videos.